Hey there, welcome to Pepper Geek. In today's video, I'll answer the question, why are my pepper plant leaves turning yellow? So this is a really common problem. Your plants are looking healthy and then one day you walk out and you see that some of the leaves are starting to turn yellow. And you think, well, I've done it again. I've killed another plant. This is it. Into the compost bin it goes. But don't do that just yet. Yellowing leaves is definitely not a death sentence for peppers. There are a number of reasons that this can possibly occur, and we're going to go through some of those for you today. I'll start with some of the common issues that cause yellowing leaves, and I'll work to some that are less common, and you can figure out what the issue is for your plants. And along the way, I'll explain how you can determine what is causing your yellowing leaves for each of the issues, and of course, how you can remedy them. But before I get started, please subscribe to this channel. We'd love to have you on board the Pepper Geek family. We're crazy about growing peppers and experimenting with them and things like that, so thanks for subscribing. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about are nutrient deficiencies. This is by far the most common reason that your pepper plant leaves are going to be turning yellow. And right here I have a perfect example of a nitrogen deficiency. This plant is sort of an experiment plant. As you can see, it's planted in a can, and a couple of the leaves have begun to turn yellow. And this is because this plant is lacking nitrogen. Nitrogen is one of the most important nutrients for all plant life. It's responsible for the green color of the leaves, and when there's a lack of it, the plant is going to start to fade and become yellow. And you can tell that it's nitrogen because it starts at the base of the plant and moves its way up. So you can see here these lower leaves, these are the oldest leaves on the plant, are starting to turn yellow while the ones at the top are still lush and green. And that's because nitrogen is a mobile nutrient, meaning that the plant can actually move nitrogen around itself wherever it's needed. And so when the plant is lacking nitrogen, it sends it upwards toward the new growth and the fruits and takes it away from the older growth at the bottom. This is also true of magnesium. So the way that you can tell the difference is nitrogen will yellow the entire leaf, whereas magnesium, you'll only see yellowing between the veins, and the veins of the plant will remain dark green. So as you can see here, the yellowing is covering all the veins and in between the veins, so I know that this plant needs nitrogen. So how do you fix a nitrogen deficiency? Well, the simple answer is fertilizer. We recommend using organic fertilizer. There are a lot of options out there. Instead of recommending a specific product for you to use, we have our Amazon shop, and I'll link to that in the description. We recommend all sorts of different products like fertilizers, soils, pots, everything that you might need to grow peppers. And we update that as time goes on. So instead of telling you a certain fertilizer that we prefer today, that list will be up to date with our current recommendations and things that we have used with success. This is one organic example. This is called Neptune's Harvest Organic Fish and Seaweed Fertilizer. It is all organic and naturally derived from things of the sea, which is always great for plants. It's relatively low in nitrogen, but it is a good amendment to add, and it can naturally bring up the nitrogen levels in your soil. Another common cause of yellowing pepper plant leaves is overwatering. Too much water is just a bad thing for pepper plants. They come from a tropical climate, but they need really adequate drainage. If you don't provide good enough drainage, you can see at the bottom here I have holes for drainage, and most pots come with holes pre-drilled. If you let that water sort of sit in the root system, you're basically drowning the plant. Oxygen really needs to be able to get to the root system of your pepper plants, so if you don't provide adequate drainage, especially in potted plants, then you're gonna start to see lots of issues. Not just yellowing leaves, but they may start to curl, you may see flower drop, and ultimately you may end up with root rot and the entire plant dying on you. So don't overwater. Check the soil before you water every time. Check with your finger. Just make sure that about an inch or so below the surface is dry before you add water, and provide adequate drainage wherever you're growing, in a raised bed, in the ground, or in pots. You always need to make sure that the water can run away from the root system. Another possible cause for your yellow leaves is cold weather. If you live in a colder climate, or your season is drawing to an end and the nighttime temperatures are dropping below 50 degrees Fahrenheit, your plants are going to start to drop off leaves in preparation for colder weather. Peppers cannot tolerate freezing temperatures, and anything below 50 degrees, the plants will become stressed and start to show signs of it. One of those signs is yellowing leaves, but you'll also see leaves dropping off randomly across the plant if indeed it is cold weather that's causing the issue. So instead of watching the yellowing leaves start at the bottom and work their way up, like in a nitrogen deficiency, you'll see sort of random spotty leaves turning yellow all over the plant from top to bottom and thinning out overall. Brief change of scenery, I failed to mention what you should actually do about it if your plants are suffering from cold weather damage. And basically you can elongate your growing season by taking the plants inside, into a shed or your garage when you're expecting cold weather. Another thing you can try is using garden cloth and covering the plants temporarily when you're expecting cold weather, and that will sort of protect them from the cold and the elements. One other thing you can try is putting mulch around the base of the plant. That will protect the root system from freezing or getting too cold in cold weather, and that can help alleviate some of the stress on the plant during cold weather. The last thing I'll discuss is disease and pests. Now, diseases tend to present themselves as more of a pattern rather than a general blotchiness on the leaves. So for bacterial leaf spot, for example, you'll see circles, little dots kind of covering the leaves all over the plant, not in any one particular location either. The only real option when you have a diseased pepper plant is to remove the plant from the garden and take it as far away from your other plants as possible. It's just not worth having a diseased plant around your other plants because most of them can spread from one to another. I'll leave a link down below to our article about pepper plant problems and diseases so that you can diagnose what might be going on with your plant. As for pests, they can be a little bit harder to identify, but the first thing you want to do is inspect your plant closely. Get out your reading glasses, get out the magnifying glass, and look underneath the leaves. Look very closely, look at the flowers, look at the new foliage, the younger foliage, the small leaves. They tend to be attracted to those. We'll take aphids as an example because they are so common around the world. They're sap-sucking insects, which means that they suck sap directly out of your leaves, effectively killing the leaf, and you'll sort of see brown spots show up on the tops and bottoms of your leaves. To get rid of aphids, we recommend spraying with a neem oil spray. Neem oil you can get online for maybe 15 bucks. You want to get the high quality, 100% cold pressed neem oil. It works so much better than the stuff you can get at the nursery. We've experimented with both. So you'll mix it up really well and then spray the plant all over, top and bottom of the leaves thoroughly, and continue to do that as time goes on. If your plants are still a smaller size like this one is, you can actually dunk the entire plant, roots and leaves and all, in a mildly soapy water solution. Just get a big pot, fill it with water and a little bit of soap, and just dunk it for 10 or 15 minutes. Take it out and all of the insects should be gone from your plant. They'll be effectively drowned by the water and the soap, and they should actually be eradicated from the plant. We've done this before with an infected plant, and all of the insects were gone and they never came back. And then you have those that actually eat the leaves directly, like slugs and snails, caterpillars, and those you generally just need to pick them off by hand. And that's really it. I hope this video helped you figure out why your pepper plant leaves are turning yellow and help you fix the issue altogether. For more info about growing peppers like a pro, check out peppergeek.com. We have all sorts of articles about growing in pots, in raised beds, in the ground, you name it. Check it out, peppergeek.com, and we'll see you in the next video.